Back on Adapt and Respond with me, RJ Young. If you're new to the show, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you so much for doing that. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, and you fill out the link in the description of the YouTube video below. I'll send you a sticker. And I'm not making that merch available for purchase because I want that back and forth between you and I. Yes, I'm sending them by snail mail, so they're coming slowly, but they are coming. So you should continue to, listen to that and/or don't lose faith that I haven't sent you your sticker. It's coming. I'm one man, and I'm doing this by hand. Don't judge me. I'm old, or at least I want to be old. Old enough to remember when we didn't have an NFL Red Zone. It's for damn sure. So for those of you that don't know or live underneath that particular rock, ESPN and NFL came up with a landmark deal where NFL gets 10% equity stake, up to 10% equity stake in ESPN, right as ESPN is getting ready to go direct to consumer. Doesn't mean it's going to leave your cable station or your YouTube TV lineup. It does mean, however, that they're going to try to make that their primary business. So one of the ways in which you try to make that work at a price point that's probably going to be between 30 and 50 bucks a month is you get as much NFL as you possibly can. I tell people this often, and they don't often believe me, but you will because you watch this show. Of the top 100 shows on television every year that rate, the top 80, 75 to 80 are just NFL games. It's a couple college football games. That means the worst watched NFL game usually outranks your highest rated scripted television show. So for those of y'all that are all loving Tracker, I will remind you that Tracker debuted after the Super Bowl was over. So it had the largest audience that it could possibly have to launch the show. These things matter, right? So if you're just outside of sports and you don't care about football, give that to someone. Tell them, hey, man, you're missing the boat on how the United States of America moves. And it is with this sport that, has this oblong ball that bounces kind of funny and is made out of pig intestines. Okay. So Roger Goodell tells everybody what they want to hear after we get this deal where ESPN, NFL media are going to be in partnership in a very big way. And it is RedZone. So RedZone is coming to ESPN Plus, which probably means, or ESPN, I think is what they're going to call it. You're going to pay that same amount of money that you were to NFL Network or DirecTV to get RedZone through ESPN, which is great. As a pass-through for them, it's going to make it, really difficult for those of us with family members who just don't care to learn how to use streaming services, but we're going to have to because that's where the Red Zone is going to be. Then there is, oh my God, the idea of college football Red Zone. So this is the quote that Roger Goodell gave. Obviously, in the context of that, though, ESPN purchased the Red Zone name, and they will be able to utilize it for other sports, college football and other things. I'm thinking about basketball, I'm thinking about softball, I'm thinking about all these things they have rights to that they could exploit. And I think that it could be an exciting thing for our fans to also see Red Zone, maybe in college football or other sports, as something that they now own and have the ability to do that. But as far as Red Zone, NFL Red Zone, they won't be making any changes to our plans, which means that they're still going to produce NFL Red Zone in-house at the NFL's offices, but they're going to pipe it through ESPN, which is fine, right? You use YouTube to watch the show. Same difference. The show is made here. Now, the idea of a college football Red Zone is really, really, really fun, Kate. And the reason I want to tell you that is imagine you get to watch your sport without commercials, a host that understands how to throw to and from those games, and you're only going to watch what is essentially scoring plays. So Red Zone being, inside the 20-yard line when the defense is most likely to get scored on or the offense is most likely supposed to score. Mm-hmm. That's where the action is for many. Now, if you're a traditionalist like me, you're watching the game all the way through and you want the ebbs and flows, but it's basically baseball highlights, right? Or NBA highlights. Would you be more willing to watch college football on let's say a longer day, as like say 11 a.m. to midnight? Would you just leave that on? Or would you just want to tune in to see, your team play?
I am of split minds about it. I think that that's a very wishy-washy sort of phrase, but there's something about what you're saying that's kind of bringing to mind, like, oh, so they just want little snip things that they can just throw on like TikTok or YouTube, basically, because that's kind of what it's feeling like. This is almost watering down a whole game. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like we've got the whole game then we're going down to this format, like you're saying, which honestly sounds great. But I feel like then that is going to be cut even more to just, like the YouTube shorts sort of, or like we're saying TikTok or that sort of thing. So on one hand, that's good. And I feel like that's a lot more palatable for some people, but then also like kind of, I don't know,
I think you're on to something here because TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels.
yeah, Instagram
These
Reels.
are
That was the
yeah,
other one I was forgetting. Yeah.
these are all powerful ways to consume content, and the
Hmm.
scrolling is addictive, right?
Yeah.
One of the reasons
Hmm.
TikTok is the most dominant social media platform on the planet. It just
Hmm.
doesn't compete with YouTube, and as far as its reach and its base, like Mr. Beast has more YouTube subscribers than the entire global subscriber network of Netflix, which is
Hmm.
wild, but it's making the point here that YouTube is a much bigger place than, say, TikTok. And more importantly, there is a ready-made revenue stream for everybody that qualifies at YouTube, rather than at TikTok. It's a little bit higher for barrier
Hmm.
entry because they can't afford to pay out like YouTube can afford to pay out. That aside, I think the part of this that is more fun is if you are that kind of person that doesn't want to have to scroll or wants to see it in real time, because it's going to get clipped to TikTok, it's going to get
Yeah.
clipped to YouTube, then you're going to get this. But one of my favorite TV shows is actually the way in which people watch. I'm going to do this here, Kate. Way in which white people watch Friends. I watch another white people show called Sports Night. Okay. Sports Night is one of my comfort foods. Really love it. It's fun. I also love seeing Isaac work, and I like the relationship that you got between your host. But there's a super sports nerd named Jeremy, and that dude was tasked with cutting up a baseball highlight. And highlights are usually like 30 seconds tops. You
Hmm.
get in, you get out. He cut a 8-minute highlight, and they said, you got to make it shorter. And he goes, I can't. What do you mean you can't? I mean, I can't. Like, dude, you got like a 7-pitch sequence to one batter that ends in a ground to shortstop. Cut that out. No, the battle. That's what you're missing. I mean,
Hmm.
he fouled off like 6 pitches. It's like, okay, we get it. You're a nerd about it. But we still got to make a 30-second highlight.
Hmm.
And that's what we're going to miss as football fans is if you don't see the sequence of plays that come up to the red zone, you're missing the cadence of the game. But for many people, that's not what it's about. Like
Hmm.
producer Kate and I have gone to baseball games, and I'm geeking out about little shit all the time. Whoops, broke my own rule. That's how comfortable Kate makes me. But that's not what other people are doing. They see a dinger, and that's what they're there for. I think red zone is a great bridge, right?
Hmm.
And it brings in many people from the sport that otherwise wouldn't be there. And I'm thinking about this in terms of like girl dads, but also boyfriends and husbands, and how this show really got started, right? The show got started with, it was a few women that were asking questions about football because they wanted to be able to relate. It's easier to relate when you got something exciting going on, like scoring, as opposed to a 3 and out, or why are they punting the ball, which is one of the dumbest and stupidest things we still do in college football. In college football is punt. Just give the ball away. Just stop punting. But because it's such a big part of the game, we're loath to take it out. Like we've had controversies about kickoffs, but then again, we had controversies about how we hit people. Wasn't that long ago? Helmet to helmet contact was just what it was. What's targeting? Now that's a personal foul and you get tossed for it. When I was 10 years old, you might watch John Lynch go murder a person or seem to, and that's just part of the game. Now we come a little bit wiser and a little more into, hey, we would really like it if this person was able to have the use of their body at a high end at 50, 60 years old, as opposed to needing hip replacements or knee replacements, so forth, so on. But in the interim, while they're playing, let's get the most exciting parts of what they're doing in front of as many people as we possibly can. I think that is the sauce for Red Zone. Like originally they thought this was going to suck.
I like the concept for like everything you just said. Sorry, I'll like finish what you're saying. I just
No, please. No, please.
Oh no, it kind of reminds me of, you know, it takes almost it's one of those things that like takes the hard work the visual hard work out of sport, just like, what we were talking about. And I wonder what that does long term, like for people who are fans of the sport, or, like for future fans, I guess is what, it's like, oh yeah, you see like these amazing things happening, in these shorter clips and stuff like that. And then, like a kid goes out and he's like, oh, I want to play football. And then suddenly he discovers that football is not, all excitement, there's all of these extra things you have to do actually. And I just kind of wonder what that does long term. Like it's not like I'm saying that red zone is going to, erode, people appreciating the sports. Like, I'm not saying that. I just kind of, I don't know, just like from a fan perspective, like new fans coming in with these kind of things is like getting not quite the right idea about what the sport actually is. I don't know. It's just,
and I don't think that's necessarily
about.
That it's a great observation, right? Because you're right. Like I think about me and racing cars, right?
Hmm.
Until you start racing a car and you figure out what a racing line is, or that braking later makes you faster, all you think is you put the gas pedal down, you turn the steering wheel. Isn't that fun?
Yeah,
Same thing is true of basketball. You might think it's just getting to the rack, but I think getting into the sport is how you get into the sport, right? Then as you are decided that you're going to commit to learning it, there's a higher, steeper learning curve where you might be the kind of person that goes, okay, red zone's no longer helping me. But I also don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because we got, 2 decades of red zone being active to show all football has done is grown since. It's a good thing. And football junkies like myself and newbies like it just the same, which makes it a more or less perfect product because it scales for everybody. And I think for kiddos, you're going to go outside and play. And as you go out inside and play, you get to learn, oh, there's much more nuance to this. There's how do I take a snap? There's how do I spin to the laces? There's how do I come out of breaks? There's how many steps go into a post route versus how many steps go into a go route. And numbers unlimited for the go route. And depending on what kind of a post route you're running, it could be 7 and 9. It could be 14. Just depends on the depth of the safeties. These are all things that are, technical that you're not going to pick up even from a long football game.
Yeah.
But that's just it, right? Like how you get in is how you get in. I tend to think that we're going to find more people receptive to this idea than not. But the one thing that I would really be interested to see is who gets to make it. Because the NFL has done a really good job of making red zone. And I don't know that you want to take that same team and make them make college football red zone, but you would like to make something like it if you were smart. Because, Kate, ESPN spent $7.6 billion on the rights to the college football playoff for 6 years. It is in their interest to try to squeeze every single dime they can out of that deal that they're paying out. Because then Texas Tech gets to pay people even more money? Question mark? Take a short break, but I wanted to talk about the money that Texas Tech has invested, not just into its football program, but into its athletic program and what it really does mean to say, we want to win championships and we will pay whatever we got to pay to do it. How good is the start?
It's a good start.
It's a great start.
Yeah, it's the first win.
And why do we play?
You play to win the game.
And what do we want?
I want winners.
I'm not bipartisan. I'm not bipolar. I'm not buyed in.
I'm by winning. I win here and I win there.